Are you looking for a faster video? Well, today it's a live stream, and I know you're probably looking for a really nice and tidy, edited down video, but I have ways for you to make it faster. You can click that little gear on the YouTube settings right there on the video and adjust the playback speed, make me sound like a chipmunk, and it'll go a lot faster. You can also look and see if there's timestamps for this project in the description, and if you're on a desktop, you can hover over the time bar at the bottom of the screen and see if it's chunked up into chapters, and then that way you can go directly to the step you're looking for. And lastly, you can also tap on the screen on the right hand side of the video picture or on the left hand side to make the video jump ahead, forward or backward if you're on a mobile device. And you can adjust that amount in your settings so you can have complete control over how much it jumps. So if you are on a desktop, you can use the fast forward or the rewind, and that will make it go faster as well. You can also enable subtitles, and the little CC on the screen will enable closed captioning. That way, if I am a little bit harder to understand with that double playback speed, the subtitles might help you out. All right, well, I know that it's not a nice little edited video, but if you sew with me, we'll get there together and it'll be lots of fun. And now for the live stream. Happy sewing! Oh, oh my gosh. I really do have it together. I had so much extra time, I wrote out a cheat sheet for my sewing instructions today. And then I looked up and I was like, oh, is it time yet? And then I was like, it's 11:01, and I see Shem write, hello. So, sorry about that. Oh, man. Woo woo, Ray, that sounds awesome. Hey Margaret, hey Hannah. Hello Shim. Hey Nancy, Aisha, Kelly, Sue, Miranda, Heidi. How's it going? Nice, nice. I got a helper here today. Let's see if I can show you her. There's Molly. Of course, she's not laying on the bed I brought, you know. Loki's at the vet today getting kind of a lot done. He's getting a few surgeries all at once. So, yeah, I couldn't believe that, Shem. Like, literally, I was like, oh my gosh, I have 10 more minutes while I'll write these directions. And I got kind of absorbed. What is going on down here? Why is my little cover here? There we go. Oh, yeah, Kelly. Oh, man. Yeah, that was, I really made that hard, didn't I? So I think I am going to bind the seams, and I think I have a way to do it so that I can bind them all at one time with my little attachment, so I don't have to like install and uninstall and change thread color too much. So yeah, Loki's okay. He has this weird mass on his back leg, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then they did screen it, and it does have some cancer cells in it. It wasn't like a big cause for concern because they can remove it all. But they also discovered he has a broken tooth. And because of him they're going to put him under, we're also going to do this surgery for a pug's that basically gives him one gigantic nostril. I think it's called... oh, it was in my head today, like sternal nares or something like that. It's kind of a weird expression. But pugs are, we never wanted to have a pug. They're kind of weird creatures. I don't recommend them for if you don't have a lot of money, because they're really expensive. That's what we've learned. They're very expensive. But hands down, best personality ever. But it is like having a permanent toddler. Like, they're very, like, he's just like, he's going to do whatever he wants. literally, I ask him 10 times a day, what have you got in your mouth? Just like a toddler. So anyway. Hi, Lily. How's it going? Hi, Martina. Hey. Robin, when people were saying hello to everybody. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember that, Nancy. Remember I wanted her to say my name so bad. And then I realized it was always generic names. They were never going to say Saremy, right? He's getting a lot done. Pugs are expensive, Shim. Yeah, so it's more like, you know, like hopefully there's no more other teeth issues. That's where it'll get really, really expensive. I'm hoping it's just the one broken tooth, which is such a bummer. Like, I didn't even know, like, he's never complained about a broken tooth. It's not giving him problems. Maybe it's just cracked. I don't know. But they think that he also has 2 in 1 tooth hole, which he did when we got him fixed. They said, hey, there's this one thing we should check for on this breed, and it's when they have double teeth. And so if you want, we can get rid of it. No, we don't have pet insurance. We should have done that before we ever took him to the vet, because now I don't think they'll insure him. Pugs, man. Never said Heidi, right? I mean, I can tell. Now I can recognize what little Saremy, how she felt. Because I think growing up I was just like, no, it didn't really bug me that much. I do know that it tainted the show, though, that when I never heard my name, and then when I started realizing, like, oh, these are just like regular names, because you know, like when you go on vacation, there's that rack at the gift shop with the little miniature license plates that have names on them, or the lip glosses that have names on them, the keychains with names on them. My name is never on those, right? And so it was starting to become apparent I was never going to see my name. And so I realized she was just, you know, shouting out generic, like, most popular kid names of the 70s, you know. So anyway. Oh, that's so smart, Shim. Can I get the pet insurance after he's already been to the vet? So maybe I should. True Companion. Okay. Okay, that's good to know. You know that too, Heidi, huh? The license plate thing, the keychain thing. All right, so this is the, I had all this binding cut. It's not really a yellow. It's more like a chartreuse. Maybe my face cam is a little more accurate. I think it's a nice pop of color. I already had all of it cut. I have almost exactly the amount I need to bind these seams. So, but I found I have a little in my stash just in case. So, really, Kelly? What the heck? Oh, okay, pre-existing conditions, okay. He doesn't actually have pre-existing conditions anymore, like, because we fixed things. Accident would be fine. He's so accident prone. Remember last year when my husband and Cricket were in the stream saying that I was getting all these texts and notes. I was like, what's happening? And he'd gotten stung by a bee and had to go to the vet because his face swelled up. You know, the time he ate a poisonous bug. First moments we walked on our house when we got it, this house now, like when it was finally ours and we could show up and it was our house and nobody else was going to be there, and we were introducing the dogs to it. We walked 4 feet onto the brick path and he snortles this bush that goes straight up into his nose, and I thought, oh my God, we're going to the vet. You know? Oh my gosh, Fiona, really? Okay, okay, I have to put my foot up on that bar back there, and then the little, like, fabric was covering, so my foot kept sliding off. Oh, that's great. We used to have a diabetic dog. Oh my gosh, why isn't anyone pushing pet insurance on us? Yeah, hello to Linda and Kathy. Exactly. I always wanted to be Samantha growing up. There were so many Heathers and what was the other one? Maybe it was Samantha. No, it wasn't Samantha. Jennifers. There were so many Jennifers when I was growing up. I would have taken it. I didn't appreciate having a unique name for a really long time just because I was teased. And teachers weren't very kind a lot of the times. They were never like, wow, what a pretty name, or what a unique name, or where'd your name come from? They weren't very nice. Fetch or pet plant. Okay. Oh, my machine's not even on. I was changing the thread. Why is this not moving? Oh, it's just a little knot. What the heck? Oh, this must be twisted. Yeah, this is twisted right here. What the heck? That's funny. There we go. All right. Let's get sewing. I kind of condensed these directions down. The directions are accurate, but they are a little odd, the way they call things. And the how they phrase the instructions. It could just be like a English translation thing, so they're only odd to me, right? But they're fine. Okay, so I'm gonna do a combination of overlock and binding the seams. All right, I'm definitely gonna check this out. Yeah, I know, right, Shem? It's so weird. I had a babysitter that I really did not like, and I had to go to her, so I probably complained because I was young, but I knew my mom had to take me there. Like, she didn't really have any options. It was just me and my mom, a single mom, right? And she refused to say my name properly, and she would say Saremy. And before you say that might have been a speech impairment, it was not. It was not a speech impairment, because my mom even tried to, like, she just wouldn't. I would show her how my name was spelled, and she would, like, oh, it was awful. It was kind of heartbreaking. But my mom finally was like, yeah, this lady's not good for you. I was like, that's right. And she took me somewhere else. But, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy being a single mom. People weren't kind to her for that either. Very judgmental. Not judgmental of the dad who was nowhere to be found. No, not him. Just my mom doing heroics. That's who they judged. Literally full-time working a job, trying to pretend like I'm getting the exact same experience as all other kids. So she would, like, take me camping. She would take me to the daddy-daughter things, even though it terrified her to do all these things. She would still do it. Okay, so this looks really red on camera, but it's not. It's more like a wine color. It's really nice. I actually really like this color. So that's pretty cool, Shem. You hardly ever turn your machines off? Wow. I guess you don't have animals that'll walk on your foot pedal? All right, so I've decided that I'm gonna go with the fuzzy side towards the body and the smooth side on the outside. I think it looks nicer. So here is my cutaway pockets. This is what the one modification I'm doing is I'm gonna make a cutaway pocket. And so I'm gonna overlock this outer edge here and the perimeter edge of my pocket. Or I could bind it actually. Maybe I'll do that. But, oh. I don't really want to put the attachment on, and then I also have to change thread. Okay, what do you think? I'm just gonna overlock it. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine if we overlock it. Oh, let me zoom that in a little bit. My computer had an update yesterday, so it resets everything, and of course the microphones didn't work. I had to troubleshoot all that. Oh, wait, autofocus is on. We don't like autofocus around here. I mean, unless you like a roller coaster. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna overlock this edge here. Just checking out the tension since I haven't sewn on it yet. I'm pulling these extra threads here. That looks pretty good. So the good thing with having Molly here is she doesn't get up every time I get up. Whereas Loki, every time I get up, he jumps up. Like, okay, where are we going? Yep, it's a coat. It's a flannel, Kelly. I'll show you the picture of it. Sorry, I should have gone over that. Let's get that going. When you do these curves, I know there's been a few people getting new sergers in the guild, and I know one of them's not here right now, but you know when you have these really steep curves like this, what I do is I put my fingers here and I hold it. It's like I'm creating a pivot point, right? So I'm holding this pretty hard, and you see I'm pulling it right here because I'm trying to get this right here in front of the knife straight, like that. And I push it away to do the opposite there. Okay. And this, see this shim, when I was talking about how it's really nice to be able to lift your press foot up like that. That's what I was talking about. I trimmed a tiny bit that time by accident. All right. So I usually would have put this so that the right side of the overlocking, if you like to consider there's a right and a wrong side of overlocking, I would have put that on the wrong side of this pocket, so because that's what shows on the inside, and I forgot to do that. So one of them has the overlocking so that it's gonna show the right side to the inside of the garment, and the other one doesn't, and that'll be okay. No one's gonna notice but me. I'm just going to press this nice and flat because it gets a little ruffly. You can see the difference here. See the difference? Just kind of ruffly. You got to kind of tame it. All that bias right there, I mean, look at all that ruffle right there. All that bias on the pocket edge, you got to kind of like reel it in a little bit once you've sewn it. No barking, Molly. There's never anyone back here. And of course, watch, there's going to be someone working in the leaves back here or something today. Molly. 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 Hey, no. What do you see? Oh, there's someone at a picnic bench. Molly. Yeah, right, Nancy? Exactly. Velcro dog. Oh, I call him my barnacle. White shadow. Hey Terry, how's it going? It's not wool flannel. It is a flannel, like what you would make a button-down shirt. And here's the line drawing of the coat shim. This is the stylized picture. I highly recommend looking at the hashtag for this. So it has an optional belt. So someone wrote a really nice review of this on my Instagram post. Don't worry if he barks. Okay, thanks. Thank you. You guys know what to say to me. But it can get really like high pitched. There's no one else in the office today, so I'm okay. Someone wrote a really nice, Elizabethan, you know, who comes to the chat sometimes. She wrote a nice little snippet under my cutting post, which I delete every time. So I screenshot it. I'm going to put it in my stories. But she said, I love this coat. I made it last year. It really sits nice. And she says she's really curvy. I can read it to you. Oh, it's on my phone. And my phone's over there set up for chat. but I'll put it in my stories. She said she's kind of curvy and it just skims herself. She feels like it's really flattering and it's a nice little A-line shape. So I thought that was kind of nice. She's getting ready. It's the wind up, Sydney. It's the wind up bark. The oh, like that. Hey, no, that'll do. We're gonna shut the window there. If Loki were here, it'd be all over. I'd have to call the stream off. He gets her wound up and it's done. All right, so we're gonna face this and Molly, no, stop. It's really high pitched. Of course you're gonna do that today. I usually have a notch that tells me how this goes, but I didn't include it. Here it is. This is how it goes. Like that, and the other one goes on the other way. All right, there we go. So we're gonna sew this on here. Molly, knock it off. I'm winding a bobbin, so it might sound a little bit different. Yeah, right, Aisha. I know, sometimes I wanted to have some of the Zooms at my house because it was cooler, and then a couple times I did, I was like, oh, this is such a bad idea. The dogs are gonna bark. You know? The wind up. You're all, okay, good. This is the right side, right? Yep, you probably cannot tell, but I can. I should always remember, it's the straight side at the top. You know? There's a lot of ways to finish this opening. You can cut another, like a top pocket, and line the whole top of the pocket if you want. It adds a little bulk, but say you wanted to make it a fuzzy so the top of your hand is touching the fuzzy side of the pocket. That's always nice. You can also bind it to the inside or bind the edge. There's a lot of ways to finish this little opening here. I'm gonna trim it, clip it. You'd never let Barky. It could get bad, you guys, trust me. She doesn't come here enough. I almost cut through that. Stop. No. Stop, please. She's kind of a good girl, but she's a Shiba Inu cross, we're pretty sure, and that's a very stubborn breed. It's bugging me, okay, you guys? I'm gonna iron this opening first before we edge stitch it. Hey, last time I had to put up a little visual barrier to that window, but it's such a nice little window for the dogs. You know, they can look out, see the squirrels. Okay, we'll just press the seam a little bit. Just a little bit, just to get it to the inside so that it'll go nice and smooth, like this. And then we'll turn it to the inside. Yep. We call that sometimes, like this doesn't feel involuntary, but you know how they just kind of bubble up out of the dog? We call those like involuntary barks, or RBA, random barking activity. It's kind of like when you're behind someone on the road and they brake for no reason. We call that random braking activity, also RBA. We've just transferred it to the dogs sometimes. They will hear something through my headphones, especially Loki. He's got incredible hearing. And then he'll hear like, there'll be a dog barking in the neighborhood. And I'm rural, you guys. It's not really a neighborhood. He won't even like flinch. But then all of a sudden something else will just set him off, you know? Okay, so we've got this. That's kind of dark, huh? Let me brighten up that camera for y'all. It looks really bright on my screen. Okay. No, I don't want to do this one. Oh, I have to, let me go on this real quick and fix this camera. Let me just brighten it up a tad. Okay. All right. Edge stitch or understitch? I'm going to go for an edge stitch. Well, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it would look better just clean and have the understitch on the pocket opening? Or an edge stitch? Maybe I'll do understitch. We'll keep it nice and clean. There isn't any other top stitching on this garment, you know? So it doesn't really need the... I like kind of keeping it in the same theme. Almost top stitched the collar of one to the pocket. You are going to sew. No, I'm not. Yeah, exactly. Shem, yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was like, eh. All right, so this is the right side. So it's this one here. Oh, but I do like to... Oh, wait, is that the top? I do usually like to stitch this down. What's this pocket, actually? This one here. Oh, I should have overlocked these little short ends, too. Whoops, I'm forgetting all my instructions on how to do this. I'm forgetting. As long as I cover it up, it'll be fine, right? Yeah, that's what I was thinking, too. What are you doing, Molly? All right, and then from the right side, it'll look like this. Like that, right? Nice and clean. I'm just going to trim this little bit right here so that it gets caught and I don't have to overlock it. Cheat! I usually top stitch from the right side, but I'm going to take a chance and do it from this side. Yeah, that looks okay. Wait. Oh my gosh, that's not the right bobbin. What the heck? Did I not put a bobbin in? That's hilarious. Okay. And this wasn't winding? Oh my gosh, it just sounds like it's winding. Why are you doing that to me, huh? Yeah, sometimes the bobbin does not wind and it drives me nuts. Do I not edge stitch the facing on the collar? Nope, not on this one. It'll be understitched, but it's kind of like, it's an interesting collar. I need a different bobbin. This one maybe will be tighter. So the bobbin goes over this little like spindle, right? And in this spindle, you can spread apart the two halves of it. It's like a post that's in half. And if you spread it apart, it'll be tighter on the inside of the bobbin to hold it on there. But if you do it too tight, you can't get the bobbin on and off. And some bobbins are looser on there than others. This is when you think, oh, bobbins, how could the quality vary for a bobbin? It really can. I mean, it's kind of a key component to your machine. And how do you know a good quality bobbin before you use it, right? The pocket, this is a modification, Fiona. So the original pattern has inseam pockets. All right, that's enough bobbin. The original has inseam pockets, so I added cutaway. So you will see the stitching of the pocket to the garment, but I want it to blend in better than it was just now. All right, put another bobbin on there, but not that one that wasn't working. What was the what did I anticipate, Shim? Yeah, that wouldn't work. That's I know what you mean, Terry, and that's great, but it's the bobbin won't even spin. It doesn't matter that it's tight on there. It is spinning. What's happening is the post is spinning, but the bobbin's just sitting there. So the inside's spinning, but the bobbin just sits there. It's really dumb. It's like only like 2 of my bobbins do that, and I keep meaning to figure out which ones it is so that I can just, you know, retire them. Because I can adjust it with my screwdriver, but then it would be too tight for everything else. Now I'm going to have to stitch from the right side so I can get right where this was. Because, you know, when you use a 2-tone fabric like this, where the warp and the weft are a little different, it sometimes does show when you've ripped out a seam. You can probably get rid of it. All right, well, let's try this again. We'll stitch from this side now. Well, this fabric is just not great on camera, is it? I'm gonna tone down the sharpness. We'll brighten it up. We'll tone down the sharpness. That helped a little bit, huh? Okay. What are you guys making, Aisha and Sydney? That you're both doing? Okay. Molly, I can hear the people. All right, there's my stitch line, my original one that I just ripped out. Perfect. There we go. There's one. And now our pocket is nice and smooth to the garment, and it won't flop around inside there. Let's get rid of this right here. Let's peel this back. There we go. All right, that's the front, one front, and then is this the other front? Oh, it's on my lap. Oh, the sandhill sling, nice. Okay, that's what I was wondering if that's what you guys were talking about. So when we were doing a sew along, I thought we were gonna like formalize a start date, and it's a cutaway pocket, Shem. It's a cutaway pocket. You're so confused. Look, here's the pocket. So this is the side seam right here. There's the opening. I did this because it's an unlined jacket. And if you didn't do it this way, and it was inseam pockets, They would just, you would see them every time your jacket opened a little bit, and they'd be all floppy in there. You know this pocket. I know you know this pocket. I mean, and it was in the SBS too. Yeah, I knew it was casual, but I was like, are we going to get together in a Zoom? Are we going to sew together? I'm trimming this because I didn't overlock this, but I still want to catch it in the seam. I hate a floppy inseam pocket. I really hate it because what happens too is that, you know, you put your car keys in there. Yeah, you see the stitch line on the right side. That's the cons. That is the drawback of using a cutaway pocket. It's not like a massive drawback, but it is, you know, I understand that it's not. Yeah, I hate when you put your car keys in a pocket like that, and then you get in the car, and the pocket flips around, you sit on your car keys. You have yet to come across a pocket like this in your project. You've never seen me sew this kind? I love these kind. I put them in everything. Let's see how my bobbin stitch looks. We'll do this one from the back. I'm like, for some reason, I'm all of a sudden like paranoid that I'm gonna end up with two right fronts. Yeah, my scissors were kind of traveling around there. I'm just trying to keep it nice and flat. You don't want to really distort it, right? You can put more pins if you want. Sometimes I bind that edge. This is the lowest profile version. It would be even more low profile if I didn't face the pocket. Yeah, it saves fabric. You only have to have 2 pocket pieces. All right, so there's my other one. Big old wrinkle right there. Okay, so our next thing is going to be these neck darts. So the dart right here, remember? And so I punched a hole. Can you see my white dot right there? So I put a hole. Oh, hey Rachel, how's it going? Yeah. No, I'm thrilled that people are sewing. But I'm just feeling like, oh, we can just start. Okay, does this line up to the edge here or the seam line? Pull the bust. They call this the bust dart. Face to face and match the notches. Was there a notch? There's only one notch, right? Maybe the notch is in the seam allowance, or I didn't notch both of them. Let's see. Let's double check it. All right, this is, there's only one notch. I imagine this is the other one right here then, which is the seam line. Okay. It says match notches. There's only one notch. So your seam allowance is 3/8 of an inch. So this little notch is going to go to right here. All right. And then make sure you do it right sides together if you can't tell the right from the wrong side, like me. So I'm going to line this up like this. There's my notch. I'm going to put it 3/8 there on the neck. See right there? Right there. I may have to. I think that's the one thing it doesn't let me just let people do. Probably because my Zoom account's attached to it. But yeah, I'd be down for that. All right, so I'm gonna sew. So here's my little drill hole. Remember I drilled straight through. There's the hole. And so you fold along that, right? Make sure you're not getting any torquing. And I know that I have to go 3/4 of an inch past this hole on the fold. That's where this dart ends because I measured it. This is a really long dart. It's a little like I would probably give myself a better guide than freewheeling it like this. And I always leave a tail and hand tie. But on this one, because it's not lined, although there's a facing, there will be a facing over this, but you could just turn around and sew into the meat of the dart, you know. The zoom. Do you, Diane? That's awesome. And hello. Yeah, it's just so low profile. I think it can be a little casual in some cases, you know. But you can also do really fun stuff because you can make the pocket a contrast, this right here. You can bind the opening. There's just so much variability. It was hard to like trim down the pocket skill building session to just the essentials of this style pocket because of that. All right, so same thing here. We're going to fold this dart over to that 3/8 inch mark right there. Find my hole, which is right there. Like this. Yeah, it's really funny. I made a little like graphic for that group. We have a free group in the guild, just so you guys know. I hate it when people talk about things you don't understand, right? And it's everyone wanted to do a sew along with the Sand Hill Sling by Noodlehead. Really cute little bag. And we were like, yeah, let's do a sew along. And Rachel created a group in there, but I couldn't edit the cover picture for it. Like she is the only one that has permissions, which is so weird. I didn't spend a long time on that graphic, but I just thought, oh, I'm going to make a graphic while I'm here. I was really procrastinating on something else. So Rachel had to do it. This was kind of a long dart for me too, Shim. I might have set that up a little differently, like just drawn, like just use the Hera marker, you know, just to kind of score it so I knew. If I were doing this in like a thick wool, yeah. All right, so there we go. There's our neck dart there, or they call it a bust dart. I'm imagining you press this towards the neck too. All right, so our next thing, I wish these people would leave. There's never people there. All right, our next thing is the center back seam. Oh, we have neck darts on the back, so let's do that too. I am definitely changing the order of how I'm sewing this from the instructions. If you're not doing a lining, you can follow me and you're going to get there probably in a little more efficient way. Because I don't have to allow for how to sew it with a lining too. All right, so this dart too, I have my little hole there. This one is much smaller. Just fold along that. Why is this one torquing a little bit? 3/4 of an inch past that hole. See, like we can turn around, sew back into the dart, and then do your back stitch. Sneaky. Same with this one here. All right. I think they're having a party out there, which is so funny. Yes, it does, Shim. It has a lining, pattern pieces and everything. All right, so now we have all of our darts done. Neck, shoulder, bust, whatever you want to call them, on the Oh, this one's wrong. I'm having trouble seeing my right side from my wrong side, but this is wrong right here. Dang it. Of course I backstitched this one. This is exactly why you shouldn't backstitch a dart. Because if you have to remove it, it can be a little dicey. But I backstitched into the meat of the dart, and so that's good, right? You don't want to backstitch at the tip. Never backstitch at the tip. That is not just some sort of stuffy sewing teacher thing to say, okay? That is just a really good way to prevent yourself some heartache, because backstitching at that point there can just, it just won't look good, and it won't look good on the right side either. They didn't give me like, this is a Project for Hearts fabric, Shem. So they said this is how they wanted it. So I didn't have any lining fabric. I think in this flannel I probably would. Look at that. See all that? That it does to the fabric? All those needle holes? That's why you don't backstitch. But I backstitched in the seam allowance of the dart, so it will be a little bit more forgiving. Good thing, right? Are you in the guild, Shasha? Yeah, it's a free group. If you join the guild, or if you're in there already, when you're in the main guild area, like the guild community, if you look to the left of the screen, there's a little menu item called groups. And in there, there's a few free groups, and one of them is the Sandhill Sling Sew Along. Or as Rachel called it, the Sandhill Sling Along. This is a real lot for my mouth to say. All right, I'm gonna iron all this. All right. Oh, thanks, Terry. Yeah, and a couple people, we just started the group, but there are a couple people who've made theirs because they've been like waiting to do one. You know, like some people have had this pattern for a while and they've been wanting to make one. So they were ready to go, and this was like the nudge they needed. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, you are in the guild. That's right. There's two Aishas. Because when I told Aisha that, she was like, what? There's another one? Okay, here's one. We're going to start this collar part of this pattern now, the neck thing. We're going to do the shoulders, and then we're going to do the neck. I'm wondering how far I should go today. Let's get rid of some of these wrinkles. They're just really not, they don't look good, you know? We like it to look a little good as we go. All right, so here's our front. That didn't brighten it up at all, did it? When I did that earlier. Let's kind of give this a little press. I really need some water in my iron. All right, and I'm gonna press this dart. I'm assuming it goes towards the neck. I feel like Shim is looking at the Pockets SBS now going, there's no way you've talked about this before. Where is that? It's in the first one, by the way. Or is it the first one or is it the second one? I think it might be in the second one. All right, so yeah, now we're gonna do the center back seam, and that's one of the seams that I'm going to bind. Why they made it a dark dart and not a princess seam. I mean, a princess seam is a pretty specific look. So it's probably why they didn't do that. And putting a princess seam there into the neck like that, it's not very common. It's possible, but they utilize the bottom of the facing as a sort of, like, it has a princess seam shape. It's not a princess seam as far as like function goes. So, in other words, like this right here, this dart is functioning as a bust dart, but it's also going to be a part of this collar. See how it's going to wrap around like this? Definitely really has nothing to do with, like, why does this look so weird? As like a choice for shaping. Dart's always pressed towards the center. Hi Vestigia, how's it going? I got news from the studio I went to with my granddaughter. They are going to worship me to make a sandhill sling. Oh, fun! That's great. All right. I'm going to sew this whole center back. And then I need to be able to bind it before I do the next seam. I literally swallowed my spit wrong, sorry. Can you just please line up? Flannel, man. It's so sticky. I should see Molly. I don't know if you can. Because I know if I move my camera, she'll lift her head up. But she's resting her head on the windowsill. Right, Fiona? Yeah. It's okay, Shem. Sometimes people do put the dart the other way. I'm in kind of the selvage. Look at that. I'm going to just sew it at the regular seam allowance because this is going to be the hem. So, all right. Now, we're going to do our shoulder seams. I have to say, I was really pleasantly surprised when I got that little like review from someone saying, oh, I made this last year. I love it. I love the way it drapes on my body. And I was like, that's really cool. This dart actually looks like it goes to the shoulder. So I'm wrong. I just saw how it lines up. Look at, see that? So I'm wrong. This one goes towards the body. So press your dart the other way. Because I'm actually skeptical about how this collar will lay. So, you know. All right, so we're going to do this shoulder seam here. And this little seam right here, it should land on the seam line of your collar, right? It's going to be pretty close. That's where it should be. It's also going to land probably where your dart ends, right there. See that? And then you're going to clip to that. I'm not going to clip quite yet. Oh, I just thought I did that backwards. Where's your hardware coming from, Fiona? Where'd you order from? Yeah, Fiona, it's kind of cute. Did you look at any of the... I kind of wanted to pull up the hashtag and look at the hashtag with you guys because I think this is one to see actually finished versions of it. I'm going to flip this over and sew it from this side. I think it's a little easier to sew this from the back. Put the back up, and then you can kind of see where that neck ends there. Right there. Get rid of this little thread. All right. I'm gonna not, I don't think you need to finish the shoulder seams because the facing is so big, it's going to enclose the shoulders. But that's up to you. If you're using a fabric that's so thready that the threads are gonna kind of like drip off of the garment under the facing, like you're gonna see it so bad, then you might wanna finish this. Once you've clipped this seam right here, this little corner, then you could finish this however you want. I wouldn't do something bulky like binding though. I would do a pinking shear, overlock, something like that, you know. All right, so we're gonna clip and then we're gonna do the facing. And then we're gonna do the side seams. I guess I'm not doing this collar quite yet. So I'm clipping to that seam I just sewed. I use my other scissors. Where's my other scissors? Guess not. Right down there to that seam. Get rid of this, right? Then we'll do the other side. Facing, shoulders, side seams. Okay. Get your facing out. Oh, you know what I realized I did yesterday was that I interfaced the whole belt, and you're only supposed to do half of it. I'm actually fine with that because I think the belt will lay nicer if the whole thing's interfaced with this lightweight of fabric, but you don't need to interface the whole thing. What's the hashtag for this coat? TAL V-neck coat. Their Instagram is, I think it's the assembly line shop. So don't just pick any assembly line. There's a couple. It's really easy to pick the wrong one. All right, let's do our shoulder seam here. Again, I'm going to put my back on top of the front so that I know where to stop. When you're doing something like this, this is really important to line up on the seam line, not the points like this, right? You don't line up your point like that because then your seam line right here, it's not matching. And if you sewed it like this, you'd have a jog in your facing. You can't really see it. Here, I'll push the seam allowance the other way. It would be like that. It would be a jog. That's why you always line it up on the seam line. Are there some good ones in there? Should I look? Ooh, this one looks much longer. I feel like it needs to go that way more. Yeah, I'm gonna take it out. I'm gonna scooch it down a little bit. I want these to line up really nicely. Yeah, it does. It looks kind of like a swing coat without the belt. It's really cute. If you had like a drapey, lightweight wool, it'd be pretty chic, you know? You could do something chunkier though. And what's nice is that because there's not a lot of heavy construction details like princess seams or darts or anything like that, or seams, you could use a heavier weight wool and it would be pretty easy to manage and sew. And probably hang pretty nice too, you know? It'd give it more drape. Depending, you know, some wools, they don't really want to do that, right? Didn't Style Arc come out with a pattern recently? I feel like it was a little similar to this. I'm pulling that over a little bit. All right. right, and then our other one is right here. I don't know if it's because my interfacing shrank one piece more than the other, or I didn't cut that very accurately, but I'm actually pulling this down so that this seam line ends on the seam allowance of this neck line right here. So if this seam line comes down here, this would be pulled over like right there. I'm hoping that's the right decision. Maybe I just didn't cut the right size. That's actually pretty likely. I was kind of confused. Oh, really? That's funny. All right. I'm going to trim that off. Oof, that's a lot. Look at that. But I think I have to do that. Let's check it. Let's just check it. I don't like long pieces sometimes. All right. So see if this goes to this. Yeah, I think that was the right call. Here is my neck right there. See it down there? Okay. I probably cut the wrong size. That's the only thing I can think of. It doesn't call for a lining. It's an option. But there is pattern pieces for it and all the instructions to sew it if you want to do a lining. I think if you're making a long coat like this, I think a lining would be really nice, you know? These little tiny scissors. Where are my scissors at? All right, so facing shoulders, okay. So we're gonna do the side seams and then we're gonna bind everything. We're gonna put my attachment on and hope it works. Since I'm not doing inseam pockets, I can use this binding attachment. Pretty cool. And I don't think they do the side seams for a while. I'm doing them now. So I can do all my binding at once. You can do that, Shim. I think a group is nice because the topics can get, like if you all want to do things together, a group is nicer than a topic, you know? I posted in the the capsule wardrobe group today, and I realized there's a topic in there on finished editions. So I feel like if you're not, the thing is, if you're not following a topic, nobody will see it. The people who don't follow it won't see it. Emotion carried. You just go to the groups part, and there's probably an option kind of above, like at the top there, maybe a plus sign to create a group. We are, Sydney? Yeah, I think it's pretty easy. I've enabled anyone to do it. '88 posts. Oh, cool. I'm gonna check that out. I think I need to add that as a part of the sewing process, is looking at the hashtag together. Maybe during the cutting stream, because when I looked at the baby bell bag that I just made, I was so inspired by everybody's makes, and it was really fun to look at. You don't have to, but you can. I've created the ones that are there, except for the New Zealand, Australia group. She said she wanted to, because I created one and then I was like, if you know, she said, no, I don't mind. And then she hasn't. So I just didn't, like, I just left it because it's kind of her group. I think she had a baby, so she's a little busy. I think that was Taya that created that group. But plus I was like, it felt weird to create a graphic for 2 countries that I don't live in. I created the one for the Sandhill Sling like in a few minutes. Yeah, it's your group. See the pressure I'm under? Just teasing. Okay, let's put the binding attachment on. Let's see how this puppy works again. Because I can't remember. And my screw is missing, by the way. So I'm really hoping I put it somewhere really clever. And you guys are going to remind me where I put it. Because I don't see it here. Is it in here? Please be in here. I don't see it. They're not belted. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It's not in my drawer. I think I need this though. Sorry. This is my drawer. I just had to put all that back in there. Okay. Where's the screw at? This isn't it? No, that's not it. Look at all this is my graveyard of scissors. Dang, you guys, I don't know where that screw went. I'm pretty sure it has one, right? Ooh, ooh, ooh. I know. I think the little screw fell off. I think I taped it on right here and then it fell off. That's what happened. No, just think it out as a group to get inspiration, Shem. You know? Okay, so all the gadget nerds. So I haven't played around with this since I first got it, and I got it working really quickly. So hopefully the same will happen today. I'm going to change my bobbin right now to, well, I was going to use a cream thread, but I don't have any. I mean, is that okay? Oh, I guess I could do white. I'll use a white thread. Yeah, I'll use a white thread. Okay. Why is the stream over now? This is like your favorite part, Nancy. What are you talking about? So I'm going to bind my side seams, my center back seam, and the facing edge, the bottom edge. Well, when you're ready, you can start it, Shim. And if someone else does it before you, You can always start a group on something else. And it doesn't matter. Like, I think the group is going to be helpful and fun for anybody forever and ever. Where's that little piece of fabric that I sewed on earlier? Okay. So this little fold right here needs to be in line with the needle. So I'm going to screw this down. So I used to have an industrial machine with a permanent binding attachment on it. Permanent meaning it was installed. It could have been converted back to a straight stitch, and I think it was eventually. And this whole assembly here, it sits back here, like under the head of the machine when you do this. And I put this roll of binding back here on the spindle that holds your industrial machine. See this? So there's this thing right here on at industrial machines. This is to rest your machine. So say you need to add oil to the pan underneath, or you're getting maintenance. They just push this whole head like this. They push it that way, and it's hinged right here. That's what this is, a hinge. There's two of them. And then it lays like this on that, and it rests on that spool. But you can also use that spool as a spool. And this right here was from a yarn ball holder, which actually I just brought in. So this kind gentleman met me at a show. Like, he came up to me at a booth in a show, and he was like, "Hey, I'm from your area, and I make these things, and I just wanted to give you one," which was really sweet. And so you're supposed to put your yarn on this thing, right? Why isn't this fitting now? Oh yeah, it does fit. It'll fit. Yeah, so you put your yarn ball on here, and then you loop it through here, and then you could knit, and your yarn ball would spin. I could get that to work for me, but guess what I got it to work for? Holding binding. And so sometimes my binding rolls, oh, where is that thing? Well, sometimes when I would get binding from my vendor, they would put it on a roll so big that, you see how there's this thing of cords here? The roll of binding, is this too much information? I know you guys like this kind of thing. So I have one roll left. It's over in a bin over there because I'm using it for this project coming up. But it was so big that it would sit on here and it wouldn't spin. This needs to spin really seamlessly. Any hesitation or hang up will make your binding thing mess up, right? So this is when me and Ryan were like, we need something to set this on, and we took it off this thing, and my friend makes these now because she does a lot of binding too. And then I gave her this idea. So that's what I use that for. And it's always on my machine. It doesn't get in the way of anything. I hold elastic spools on here, whatever. And it's kind of like wonky because of the screw right here, which makes it spin freely, which is great. This is a hand rolled, this is hand cut and hand rolled binding. It was just in my stash. And so now, see, it'll pull like this. Mine's just going to spin on here. It's not heavy enough to spin this, but that's what that's for. All right, so anyway, getting back to this. This one needs to come off of this, I think, backwards. So the wrong side needs to face me. So you thread it like this. Boink, 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 like that. Boink, 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 right? Angle your binding like this. And then poke it in there. Now, this binding was already prepared. I'm really hoping it's going to feed through here nicely. I doubt it's going to. I'm going to lose a little bit at the seams. See, look at the seam right here. Since I hand cut this, it's a little bit uneven. So if you really want this to be a really pleasurable experience, I know it's a little bit of a pain, but press these seams really, really good. Like really, really good. Get them as low profile as possible, because this thing doesn't like a seam. All right, and so now we're also going to try and get this to feed through here. And we really want this to start folding correctly. And I kind of floss it back and forth so I don't lose much of my binding. And now I can see that it's pretty good. It'll get a little bit off. We'll try and get it to be on. And now we can try it out. And it looks like it's, I feel like it could be closer to the needle. Oh, but the presser foot won't let me. Okay. And then it should bind. There's my awl. I can see the under one is, we need to move this over a little bit. We're going to over rotate. We're going to put this fold just past the needle. All right, and now we're binding. Okay, so this one's a little fiddlier than my machine was, but it does the trick. So let's try it out. I've never used it. Oh, I missed what you guys were saying. I thought you were talking to each other, not me. I did saw Ray said something. Let's see. I have plenty of wool. Switch my phone to my desk to see this on the big screen. Oh, cool. I'm going to trim this because, you know, your binding attachment does not trim your seam. You know, it's not a serger. When you get really good at it, you can kind of, you know, shove fabric in there, but you don't really want to do that. It'll do messy binding. It won't do well. You'll get away with it occasionally. Give yourself a nice clean edge to bind. This is only 2 layers of flannel. That's why I also think it'll be possible. You can't do huge thicknesses. You can bind a quilt maybe, but if you want to know more about that, just ask, because I have a lot of experience doing that and it's meh. And I can tell you why. All right, let's try it. I got that pushed in there a little too far. I'm getting this like fold. It's a little too far over. We're going to back it off a little bit. I just moved it that way. And it's because this little fold here, can you see like it's folding up against, like over itself? Why does that tension look like that? Everything looks okay. Oh, that's not the tension. Okay. This little edge was getting folded up because of the presser foot. Let's back this off even more. There we go. My binding machine was so amazing. It's not catching the underside. So what's going on here? It looks like it is. I can't adjust that. There's no point, if it's not going to catch the underside, there's no point to using it. How do I adjust that? I can't adjust that. Okay, now it's going over a seam, so it's going to be a little grumpy. It's just the top edge is fine. Well, this isn't working. In my opinion, it's not working. I'm going to push it towards the needle a little more. Like, it looks good on this side, you guys, but it doesn't look good on the underside. It's not catching it, see? So, oh, there's a seam right there. So let's see how it goes. I'll just have to sew it again. It goes over seams pretty good. It's folding the underside edge. So on my attachment, I can move where this needle is to the left and right. Basically, I can move the whole attachment so that the needle is further that way. And I could do that on here like this. I can go way over like this. Let's try that. Well, that's actually, that might be a fix. Okay, maybe I fixed it. It's harder to see where my stitching is landing. But look, it sees it straight down the middle. I don't know. It's like meh. It's not even as good as meh. All right, let's try the center back seam. We're learning. Nothing's happened. Why are you guys all? You guys are all. It's the first time I'm using it. This is fine. I'm just using a binding attachment. I think it's going to be fine. We just need to figure out how to adjust it. So let's trim this down a little bit. This is how it is when you're figuring it out. I don't think this is bad at all. You just got to figure out what your settings are and what works for you. If this were really thick fabric, you'd probably have a lot more trouble. You'd have to do one layer. No, if the binding, actually, there is room for this binding to be probably an 1/8 of an inch wider cut. That wouldn't change, though, this issue, just so you guys know. This is the needle position. So if the binding was constantly doing something like, because see, look, this is sewing the binding shut. See that? It's fine. See that? Can you see that? It's so bright, sorry. So this right here is needle position. So say the underside was a raw edge there. Then your binding would probably be cut too narrow. But you can't just change the width of your binding for your attachment, because your attachment is going to have like a tolerance, right? You can only cut it a certain width. And there is a knack for that. Like, definitely you'll find your knack. And so all of my binding is cut for 1 3/8 inch, and this is a 1.5 inch attachment. So all my binding is cut 35 millimeter, and this is a little bigger. But that's not the problem I'm having. It's the needle position. You wanted it to be miraculous straight out of the box. Yeah, me too. So let's try it now that I've moved. So I was able to move this whole attachment to the left here, right? And so that means the folds of this binding now are under both sides of the presser foot. So this edge here is actually under this side of the presser foot, which is kind of nice. I can't see it now because there's no space between my presser foot and the attachment. Like, I can move it a little bit like that. I can barely see it there, but I can see, this is when I want to do this. How did I do that before? Well, here, I'm just going to pick this. Can I just pick this up? I'll show you. Okay, so here's my face cam. All right, let's see, where is it? Let's do the full screen. Okay, so you can see down here at the bottom of the binding attachment, I am getting a fold on top and bottom, so that's not the problem. And if you're having that problem where like the one side just isn't folding and you're getting a raw edge a lot, that is your binding width and it's not wide enough, cut wide enough. And so now I've moved the whole attachment here, oh, sorry, to the left. And so the focus is really terrible, but can you see, like right here, this fold is now under this side of the presser foot, which is holding it down, which is really nice because I was getting that little like turn up right, where is it? Oh, I don't see it anymore. The tension looks kind of terrible though, it looks trash. All right, and then this is how it's looking. Here's another seam. So see, my binding has a little room. I could make it a little wider, but all my binding was cut a long time ago. So. Yeah, I think this is working really good. For an attachment you can just screw on really quickly and take off, I think this thing's going to work great, actually, truth to be told. So yeah, so if you're having this problem that I'm having here where it's not catching the whole underside, right? See, like there's one right there. It caught it, but it didn't catch it there. That is where the needle is positioned on the fold. It needs to be further into the binding so it catches everything. But, you know, you're going to have a lot less adjustability with this kind of attachment. And it's just the thing you got to, like, you know, sometimes that's what you compromise on, right? And that's okay. If you were doing this professionally, you wouldn't just use this kind of binding attachment, right? So if you're just doing this occasionally, like as a hobbyist, I think this thing will work great. All right, let's try it. I just trimmed that center back. Your binding should be, or your seam should be all the way in too. So I would like it to be a little closer to the edge, you know, like, I don't really like how far in that is. That's just looks very amateur. Sorry, it does. But look, I'm catching both sides now. So, all right, where's that seam? Okay, here it is. And see, now I'm getting this little bit that kind of, like it catches the inside edge there. So it's kind of a sweet spot. This thing goes over seams way better than my old machine did. I will say that. Oh, see now, see right here? This is because I went over a seam right there and it got a little bit off. I just saw that. And I'm going over another seam right now. This binding wasn't meant for a binding machine. It was like pieced together, I think for a demo. Can you please? Okay, you're really off now. Come on. So this is what you do when your binding gets off. Unclip your thread. It's totally okay. Hey Elizabeth, I was just telling about your review of this coat. You got to tell them what you said on my post. So we're going to get our binding back on track by doing this, okay? We're going to floss it back and forth, get our fold back there. And I sometimes have to shove my finger in there to kind of get it to fold again. I'm going to go back here. And you got to train it a little bit. And it's because this little piece of binding is probably a little narrower because we just went over a seam. It's not very happy with it. You got to kind of like recenter it. I hope really that this is just a lesson in that not all attachments can do as good a work as you. They're not the solution for everything, but they are really handy when they work really good. Yeah, I saw your little like review, which I loved, and I always delete that post when it's my cutting stream or like a stream announcement, and I didn't want to like delete your little review. I screenshot it so I could put it in my stories later. Okay. I'm just going to skip a little bit. I may not be able to get this on track. Let's see here. I'm getting it on track right here, but it's just not that great. Oh man. I have so far to go. When this would happen to us, we would just hand sew the rest of it. Hand sew meaning like use your machine. So see how this side right here has way more folded than that side? That side's not folding. Can you see that? This is what it's doing when it comes out of the binding attachment. So what you need to do is basically it's like going through like this in the attachment, and you need to pull it and make it go straight in there. And it's like at an angle. I only know this because I had a binding attachment on a machine for years, and I've calculated it, and I've actually sewn over, you know, we were sewing over a mile of binding every year. Like one year I was like, do you think we'll hit a mile? And we started tracking it. Yeah, we hit it over a mile for sure. So I kind of know what to do with it. And this binding attachment's a little different than mine was. Come on, I just want you to get back on track. But you're not back on track. I can see it right there. It's this little bubble right here. I may have to just sew this by hand, the rest of it. What I do is I cut off a piece that's long enough. Like that. We'll pull it through, and I'll just rethread it. We'll try and get it for the next seam. We're learning. Yeah, Terry, it might be. So one of the other things, if you don't have an awl and you need to thread your binding right here, what we had, when I sold my machine, I told the guy, I'm like, I know this looks like a broken seam ripper, but it's actually a really essential tool for this thing. And it was like one of those blue handle, like kind of rectangular handle, like cheapy seam rippers. And the this part right here was snapped off. And so it had this like blunt thing, and it was perfect for grabbing the binding. If we couldn't find it, we were like, oh no, where is it? Okay, there we go. Now we're back on track, except for this funky thread here. And we'll just sew that later. I'm already having to re-sew all of this. I was using a binding machine, just on the binding machine. I was using, yeah, that was what we did on the binding attachment. I could definitely, yeah, we hand did it. I'm trimming a little too much off here. You don't probably have to trim any of it off. I'm just trying to get all rid of these threads. They can kind of be a problem. Just do a kind of a choppy job. Boop. All right, last one, I think. Oh, and the facing. The facing should be easy, hopefully. Hopefully. Famous last words, right? Oh, there's another seam. There's too many seams in this binding. I should have picked something better. There's another seam. Okay, so far so good. My other binding machine was so fast too. I could just put pedal to the metal. Okay. All right, see, I think that that's actually a pretty darn good success rate. On our third seam, we had 100% success. That's pretty good, you guys. Yeah, that's pretty cool, Elizabeth. This is given to us by Hearts Fabric. All right, look at our binding seams. We need to fix now, unfortunately. That's the gamble, right? Okay, so now I have just the facing to do. I don't regret selling that machine. It was just a machine just like this one with a binding attachment on it. That's all. And it would have been a whole other machine, you know, taking up space here. If anything, I sort of was like open to the idea of my old straight stitch, the one that didn't have electronics. I was open to that one not selling. I sold it for $300. That's what I bought it for, by the way, and I got like a couple decades of use out of it. I was kind of open to that one not selling because I was just going to bring it home and put it in the garage and use it out there on the weekends. So I sold all of my machines locally to some guys, like different guys that had different businesses. One I think was doing leather work and one was doing bags, I think. Oh, that notch is kind of deep. So those notches, I shouldn't have clipped those notches. They were for the lining, to sew to the lining. All right, I'm just gonna pull this over. See, so this right here is the armhole of the facing. I'm gonna pull this all the way over like this, and I'm gonna continue on. There's no reason to like cut it. Just keep going. I was about to say, let's see how fast we can go. there's a seam coming, forget it. Although this attachment does seams better than mine ever did. Mine did not like seams. Okay, you gotta admit, right now, it's kind of like, nice. Yeah, right, Terry? I know. Oh, I'm running out of binding. Crap. Eek! I need a piece of binding that is, look at this, not very long, like less than a yard. Dang it. Let's see here. How big of a piece do I need? Can I do it? I can. All right, let's go with my pattern table. It's not really set up, but I think you'll be able to hear me and all that. You won't see me, but it's kind of dark too. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to do the longest piece here. It's no wonder that was not cut very well because I'm doing kind of a bad job now. All right. Worse than yarn chicken. No, the worst is now I need to sew this to this piece here. And my machine has a binding attachment on it. So I'm going to try and sew this with my binding attachment on. I've never done that before. Let's see if I can do it. Can I do it? Oh, I kind of can. Okay, cool. Good enough. Look at that jog, though. Let's get rid of that jog. All right, let's see if we can get this. Oh, but can I? Let's see. Can I get this back in there? Oh, I don't think I can. I've never reverse done this. Dang it, this is such a pain in the butt. You know, I've never done this reverse. Let's see if I can. Can I do it? Can I do it? Things I've never done. Oh, I saw it. There it is. We'll see. If there's ever a show on MacGyvers of sewing, like, I think that would be the thing I would excel at. But it had to be certain things. You can only be a MacGyver on things if you really know what you're doing on those types of things. You know what I mean? And I'm not even successful yet, so let's just stop the big talk, Saremy. Let's get this closer. Oh no, it flipped over. See, we should have just not done the attachment now. Maybe I should have just overlocked it all. I really know how to complicate something. This is a good example of why you can't do something in the round. So like, I couldn't cut this right here and then rethread it and then start binding, right? Because it would be a seam right there. And so say you want to do a coaster all the way around the perimeter of a coaster or a quilt. You can't with one of these machines unless you are willing to unpick the first few inches and the last few inches and then sew them together, flatten it out and sew it together. It only works when you're going on and off the edge of something, like the top of a pocket or the edge of the facing. Yeah, by hand, exactly. Exactly, you know what I mean. This is the types of things that ruin your production times. And you have to allow for them in your production time. Okay. I'm close. All right, I got it. Holy heck. Okay. I think I got it. I can backstitch. That's kind of amazing. All right. Do I have it or not? I have it. I can't believe I pulled that off. Let's see though. I'm about to go over a seam. And it looks really shallow right here. Losing the fold, losing the fold. Push it up so that it starts folding over. Oh, if this is another tip. If you feel like you're about to stitch it in with a raw edge, you know, not folded, stop sewing, like unclip your thread. Like what I can do is just press on my heel, it'll cut the thread, but you don't have to do that. You can just pick up, you know, turn your crank, lift your needle up, and then pull it for a few inches until it gets on track, and just then go back and re-sew that few inches. This looks really nice. You know why this looks really nice? Because this is a little whiter and it's a clean cut. It's brand new. All right. Maybe I can use this as a little hanging loop. I think I cut a bigger one off. Here we go. We'll use this as a hanging loop. All right. That's all the binding I had, right? Let's hope, right? And look at this is me taping my screw to the piece. Put it here. And now we need to do some repairs. All right, so we've got this. That turned out okay. This is okay. The facing went great. We're okay with the facing. All right. But we're not okay with this. Label, I haven't done the label yet. Not there yet. I'm almost there though, thank you. This one went fine. this was my first one. So we'll just sew it from the back side here and just re-sew it. It's not going to look the greatest. Sorry, hearts. Dang. Do you think Hearts is going to be bummed by this? I hope not. I'm just going to take out 2 stitches right here so I can pull this over a little bit. You keep telling me to get some of those, you know, to make my presser foot easier to swap. And every time I go to do it, Terry, I don't know which one to buy. I get so overwhelmed. They're like a couple dollars, right? I should just buy a couple and get the, and then just, you know, use the right one. All right, so here's my one where it didn't work out. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna sew this like old style, right? I'm gonna do the best I can here. We're just gonna sew this right side together like this. I'm in the guaranteed success way to sew this. So we'll sew this right sides together first, and then we'll turn it. I'm doing this by hand, can you tell? All right, and then now we'll sew the binding here. Clearly illustrating why it would have been faster to do it this way. Yeah, sometimes they do, yeah. But, you know, they're all working and stuff, so sometimes they'll be packing orders, and like Lexi, she'll be packing orders and say hi. I still don't know how you do speech to text. Is that an Android thing? Like, can I not do that on an iPhone? Or is it like the little microphone that I get? Is that it? All right. Oh, we need to fix this right here. Okay. So one of the good things about a binding attachment is if you have to take out a seam, like take out your binding, it's only one seam, which is kind of nice. You know, you're not taking out 2. Like to take out this down here, what I just sewed, that would have been a 2-step process. But up here, it's just 1. And this is where it was sewing a raw edge on one side. So just right here, this little section. I can't tell if it's if my tension is actually off or it's an optical illusion on this fabric. Oh, okay. Oh, that's it? Okay, I have that. It always wants me to do that, and then I'm like, no, don't do that, you know. All right, so our next step after this is that neck seam. So what time is it? Maybe I'll stop here and start with that. But we'll assess in just a second. Let's see, I'm trying to get this on track right here. Like this. I don't want to sew this with one seam, you know? Yeah, okay, that's it then, Aisha? Okay. Test it out for us, Aisha. When I do this in my car a lot, like I'll respond to a text using it, and when he repeats it back to me, it sounds like one big long run-on sentence. I'm like, doesn't this dude know punctuation? Or do I have to tell him period, comma? I just feel like he's going to type that out. All right. I think that was all the things I had to fix. It's okay. Definitely not looking like the queen of binding on this project. All right, so let's see what we got. So now our whole inside is clean finished. See, here's the side seam, center back, side seam, right? Because I didn't do inseam pockets, doing the finishing of the side seam was real easy this way. If I had side seam pockets, it would have been a little trickier to do the pocket. You'd have to probably do the seam first and then and bind the pocket separate and then sew it all together. It'd be pretty bulky. So you can tell it punctuation. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, Aisha. Oh, that's good to know. I always think it's going to type it out, so I never say that. All right. So let me just look at everything that's in here now. All right, so we have this, and we have our facing, which is right here. And so our next step will be to sew this little neck and collar thing here, right, on there. I'm going to create a loop right now with this extra binding. And we're just going to put it on here so we don't forget. Kind of matches, oh man, kind of matches my little person here. I like that they remind you in the instructions to do this. So we'll put a little loop here and my label like that, and then someone can hang up the coat. You want to do it on the inside, and you want to do it on your neck seam. Oh, actually, no. You don't want to do it there. Don't do it there. We're going to do this on our facing. That's where we're going to do it. Sorry about that. I forgot we're going to clean finish this with the facing. All right, so we'll put this on the facing. Same spot. Let's find the center. I'm going to fold this right here, shoulder to shoulder. I'm going to mark the center anyway. That'll be helpful later. And then we'll put our little loop. I could go like this. No. Okay, put that under there. And that right there. Like that. All right, and so now we have our facing. At least the binding looks pretty good on this, you know? I went goldfish, period. You really start seeing the things you say a lot when you hear your kid mimic it. There was something I used to say, and I kind of lost what it was because her version was so funny of it that we just started using it. And she'd be all, Mama, to tell you, Mama, I broke this thing. Or to tell you, I don't like goldfish, Mama. And so we still use it to this day, to tell you. You know, like Michael will say something like, oh, I'm going to be, you know, there's a distributor coming in town and I'm going to have a beer with them after work, just to tell you, you know, but it's more like to tell you, I'm going to stay after work with this, my friend, you know? So, and I don't know where she got it from, because it wasn't something like I said, just to tell you. I didn't say that. It wasn't that. So yeah, that is really cute. I want some goldfish, period. You're like, well, let's put this on Trixie. What do you think of that? And then we'll call it today. Hi, Molly. What you doing, Bubs? You can see Molly. She's all looking squidgy. That's what we say when she looks a little like nervous and tired. Let's look at this right side out first. Needs a good press. Yeah, I think I would have to do something for my hip tilt and my shoulders. Can you see that? You can see that armhole. Let's pull this back a little bit. Like this, see if I can kind of, no, that won't help at all. It needs to be more up. There's the pocket. I never did determine if this was my size or not, too. I think it might be a size under me, but I can't remember. There's the V-neck of the V-neck coat. And then it's going to have this collar, which is really tough to pin right now. It's really tight back there. So if I made this for me, I think some of the things I would have to do is I'd have to probably adjust it where, probably have to open it up a tiny bit back here and open across the shoulders. Can you see how really tight it is right there for me? That's really common for me. Want to see it inside out? Let's see it inside out. I think a lining would give this some nice body. See, it gets kind of hung up right there. The pooling, the hip tilt pooling. Flannel. I'm just kind of monkeying around with it, trying certain things. Okay. Because it's very much less A-line on me. I think because of I have a pretty full bust. See how it's all like hanging right here? It would be nice if that was more like this. See that? Yeah, it's a medium. I made a medium. Did someone ask that? Yeah. That's what they asked for. I need a little bit here, but I need less right here. There's a lot of room right here. Yeah, I'm excited to see this done. All right, sorry, I'll stop spinning it. Let me bring it closer. This is inside out, by the way, just so you can see the binding. And then the facing will sit on it like this. Like that, right? And then it'll have sleeves, and this little collar will get finished. All right. I'm not sure if the colors translate on the camera well, but I really love this chartreuse color with this wine. Oh, how long is it? Let's see. Let me make her my height. I'm 5'4", Fiona. What the heck? What's wrong? Oh, there we go. Wait. Oh, there we go. So it's probably to my high calf, Fiona. I can just try it on for you if you want. The sleeves will be, what do you mean by finished? Do you mean the armhole seam? I'm planning on overlocking it. Yeah, it could have done that, Shim. I just didn't have enough binding or patience to do it on flannel. Not that it's hard to do on flannel, but I just didn't feel like spending that much time on a flannel fabric, not like a nice coating. So Fiona, I'm 5'4". Yeah, you probably would, Fiona. 7 inches. There is lengthen and shorten on the pattern. Do you have a long torso? I feel like these pockets are a little low for me. So if that helps you, like the torso could be longer. Like it probably is longer than I am. Darts are kind of an interesting. Nancy would take 7 inches off. Is Elizabeth, are you still here? Do you think that this reflects like how it looks on you? Because it's not much of an A-line on me. It's looser on me than it is on the dress form though. Probably because the flannel isn't as clingy on me. Mostly it's the legs, your inseam is 34. Okay, yeah, so you probably could just add it to the bottom, I think. And then I can show you the sleeve length when we get there. Side waist is 10 inches. This sleeve, you know, what I like about this armhole, I mean, is look at that. It's over my sleeve right now. And it's not hung up on it at all. I think this is a puffy sleeve, so this sleeve under the sleeve is probably going to be not the most comfortable, right? But what I'm trying to say is the circumference of the armhole is fitting really well over my sleeve. It's not pushing up underneath. So it is a proper coat armhole, which is really nice to see because I don't see that all the time in some patterns. Ooh, I just heard a rip. That's not good. It's probably that clip I shouldn't have clipped. I knew I shouldn't clip that. I knew I shouldn't have clipped that, yeah. It just ripped a tiny bit. Great, one more thing to deal with. Yeah, okay, Elizabeth, I think that's exactly what I was thinking, is that when I see it on my dress form, I would probably modify it a little bit because my bust is, I'm so chesty, you know? Yeah, exactly, Shim. Yeah, you know, that's so interesting. The way you just said that jogged my memory on something. Also, I had a crazy dream I was going to tell you guys yesterday with Lizzo. But there's a new Instagram account called Honest Pattern Reviews. And I checked it out. I don't know if I followed it or not. It's not pattern reviews. It's just basically like complaints about patterns. And yours is exactly what's going to polarize people on that account, because some people will be like, this thing fit me terrible. That doesn't mean it's a badly drafted pattern. Unless it fit every single person poorly, it doesn't mean it's a bad drafted pattern. We all have to do fitting adjustments to fit ourselves. And, you know, and someone asked me last time, what was I making? And someone said, Saremy, if you were making this for yourself, what adjustments would you make? And I've actually thought about that question in the chat many, many times since they asked it. I can't remember which one of you asked it, because I was like, oh, that's such a good question. If this were my garment, what would I do? Because I without trying it on and making a muslin first, I don't know, but I can usually tell what I have to look at and make sure for me. And it doesn't mean the pattern's wrong. It just means that my particular body needs certain things, just like you guys do, right? Just like we're talking about, Fiona needs 7 inches, Nancy needs 7 inches less. You know, Elizabeth has a smaller chest than the pattern's drafted for. I have a larger chest than the pattern drafted for. You can't fit everybody. So that Instagram account is it's polarizing already with the 7 posts that they have. So yeah, you saw. So I saw that. I saw someone talk about that, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go check this out. And I was like, oh, these aren't pattern reviews, because I feel like a pattern review is something where you weigh all the different aspects, and you talk about it, and you compare it, and you're reviewing it. Complaining about patterns is different. I don't think of it as those reviews. I'm keeping my eye on the account just because I like seeing the things people say on there, you know. But yeah, so it's gonna be. They're only following one account, and it's Can You Sew This For Me? So I thought, oh, that's pretty smart. So I think that account will be a great place to vent, and I think it'll be a great place to see true emotion about things that frustrate people about patterns. And that's legit. Like, you can feel that way, and it's a legit feeling to be frustrated by certain things. Like, I hate the instructions of this pattern company. Every time I make them, they're wrong. That's a legit, like, review, as if you've bought the pattern and you're writing a little review on their website, right? And if you look at their account that way, I think that's legit, you know. Vague pattern rants. I mean, I think, Miranda, I think that part, I know exactly why you're saying that. And I think that's because even if you are anonymous, you are still revealing who you are to someone who you don't know who it is, to tell them how you feel, right? So people are still going to be a little vague. So I think, like, if you look at it, like, if you buy something and you get to leave a review for that product, and you would just write a few sentences, right? You would kind of try and encapsulate it. And usually people, when we leave a review, are kind of mad, right? That's how it would look, I think. Yeah, exactly, Terry. And I think like that account will probably be valuable for some of those things. Yeah, I mean, I'm over that, Shim. The one thing I'm working towards right now is not being sponsored. I may be paid by Wardrobe by Me to make her patterns occasionally, but I don't feel like when I do her how-to videos, that's different. I'm not talking or anything. And I'm pretty honest about everything I do. If you wanted me to be brutally honest, you got to join my guild and be in a workshop, because I'm even more honest there, because I feel like when I can see all your faces, it's a two-way discussion. It's not me just saying this into the YouTube void and I don't really know, and because I appreciate context and I appreciate it being a conversation. And I am pro all pattern drafters and all pattern companies, but I'm also pro sewists. And I think honesty is different than being mean. And I think that's what people are going to really have a hard time with on that account, is that honesty is always perceived as being mean or rude, and it's not. I feel pretty strongly about that. Yeah, exactly, Heidi. Like that would be a fair thing to say on there, right? That's a great one-line thing to say, and you are speaking from personal experience, and that sends a very clear message to New Look. I don't know, Miranda, and I think that that's another thing, is like when you are anonymous, it's not a conversation. So, yeah, right, Shem, I know. Yeah, like Style Arc not having any directions, exactly. So I think that account will get big, right? But it's also, and maybe it'll feel really good to be able to go somewhere and vent anonymously, right? So I think that's good. But I think that it's going to be polarizing all the time. I even saw a couple people from here commenting on there. So it's different. Yeah, but you know what, Aisha? I think like you're absolutely right. I'm so tired of that too. But in the sewing community, I know why this account was started probably. It's because every time you see someone say, here's my review of the blah, blah, blah by blah, blah, blah. I loved it. It was great. And that's it, right? That's not a review, right? And then you learn they're an affiliate for the pattern company, or they were a tester. And for me, I'm just like, why do you have to call that a review? I really wish people would stop doing that, because that's what makes people really upset when they come to your channel and they do that. They think they're filled with sunshine and roses, and they go to sew it and they're like, what the heck? This is not great. There are some clear issues with how to understand how to sew this pattern together, and they did not let on that this is hard, you know, and then you feel betrayed. So just don't call it a review. You just say, I really enjoyed sewing this, and I'm really happy with the results. That is actually a very, very powerful statement. If I said that about a brand new machine, I guarantee it would influence somebody out there over toward that machine, right? Or that pattern, if I said that. And so words are really powerful that way. So calling it a review and then saying you only had a positive experience every time isn't very honest at all. It is, Aisha. And I think that when you're anonymous like that, it really encourages that. It's not a conversation, and I like conversations. Right, Kelly? I know. Yeah, exactly, Jan. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that account will have some nuggets of truth. I don't think anyone's going to be untruthful. But I think it's going to also just be a place to rant, and that may feel really good, you know, like to get it off your chest, like finally I can actually say this. I think that's great. Honestly, I think it's like a good thing in some ways, but at the same time, do you think pattern companies are going to engage with that account? Do you think they're going to open it? if they only see that kind of post, they're probably not going to, because it's not a conversation. Yeah. So I don't know how far it'll go in that way. But if it brings some like peace to people, they've always wanted to get it off their chest, great. Because we don't have to read it. We don't have to look at it if we don't want. And it's not like you can sort the posts by garment, right? So it's just basically like saying it and then it kind of going by the wayside. So I think there's value in it. It's just not a way to aggregate data about patterns that actually will end up having an impact. Yeah, Jan, and I think that's another reason why that account will be great, because if you were to go on there and or tell them like, gosh, I had this issue, and then you saw like 43 people comment, oh my gosh, I had that issue too, it would feel really good. You have a place now, Kelly. You have a place. Exactly. Yeah, so I mean, I get comments on my Let's Be Honest reviews series, and some people are like, you were too kind. And some people don't feel that way, and some people don't tell me at all what they think because they're scared to, which is a bummer, you know. And I think that there's a lot of people who don't like that I do those. They do think, because there's a lot of reasons why people are like, oh, you should never talk bad about these companies. They're working hard. Yeah, I'm sorry. I am too. I'm sitting here sewing it, and if there's an issue, I'm going to tell you. You know, that it's, and like I've said over and over, it's disrespectful to a sewist to make them your test sewist. So, yeah, I need some ideas for Let's Be Honest. I'm thinking about doing a Let's Be Honest about the top down center out, but I just feel like it's just a freaking hornet's nest I'm gonna kick, and I'm just not interested in kicking a hornet's nest right now. But I don't know. I need another. I totally forgot about the series over the summer, which I feel bad about because I love it. And I feel like I don't really know what I have that people are interested in reviewing right now. Yeah, and I think that's when one of the exchanges I saw between people, Nancy, was something like that. They were like, yeah, but this person didn't say, they only said their height. They didn't say like what size they were or whatever, you know? So... yeah. You know what's interesting is that I feel like when I say something constructive about a pattern like that, I actually feel like it encourages more people to sew it, even if I've said something negative. It's almost like, okay, now I know what to watch for. I can make this pattern. You know what I mean? So, isn't that interesting? Like I've been trying to put my finger on it for a while. Like, that's interesting that this person is now wanting to make this pattern because of something I said. I think it's literally because they think I've uncovered anything potential that could maybe go wrong, or what to watch for. Because then it's kind of like, okay, the mystery's out there. Now I can just go forward. Top down, center out is a fitting method coined by an Instagram poster. It uses a lot of the same elements as like Palmer and Pletch, but it forbids you changing the center front, the rise and the inseam. Did I say using? Changing. Did I say changing? It forbids you from changing that whole center line, the rise and the inseam, and then you adjust the waist height and the side seam, and you do this with the pants to kind of get them in the right spot. Rock them back and forth. Yeah, right, Jan? Yeah, I don't recommend full tummy adjustments. Not the full tummy adjustments people talk about. I think it's not a good idea unless you have a very particular style of tummy. Yeah, right, Shem? Exactly. Yeah, you'll never forget to put the zipper on correctly after watching my stream of that. That's great, Kelly. What did Hannah say? Oh, yeah, she said there. The stands are culty. Yeah, I think that's actually one thing I would mention in my review. Y'all have made this thing taboo to talk about, and that's not okay. Now, I'm wearing the Dawn jeans right now. I love them, but I would fit them tighter next time I sewed them. I would fit them really tight because of the fabric choice I use. It got so big. But I refit these on the stream, and I'm wearing them right now. I love them. I totally recommend that pattern. Yeah, Jan, are you talking about the crotch curve? I think like Jen Stern points that out as well. I agree. I think that there's been more interest in allowing changes there by the woman who kind of coined that fitting method. So I think that's good. Some people have to change the crotch curve. It's just how it is. It's no big deal. It's just a seam. I have a whole video about it if you want to watch it. Yeah, fabric choice, exactly. Yeah, if you make rigid jeans, Kelly, and they're not slouchy, fit them tight because they stretch out. Especially if you're cutting and sewing it in a twill. We need the woes of twill topic in the guild. I think, and personally, I think top down, center out. I've never tried it. I haven't tried it yet. But I think it's amazing in that it has really boosted the whole sewing community's confidence in fitting pants. It's amazing for that. So I don't have negative things to say about it. I've never tried it. I don't think it'll work for my body type, and I don't think it'll work on most pants that I like to sew, the kinds I like to sew, but I still think it's a really great start in fitting. Like it cuts out some of the steps. I mean, it's kind of similar how I start my method already because of my hip tilt. I've always adjusted the waist like that, but I just don't do it that way. I do it a little differently. Ooh, you got red denim. I would love some red jeans. Kelly, don't do that. Don't do the aluminum foil thing. Yeah, I know. That's kind of where the whole world's kind of captivated by it right now. The Dawn jeans are super high-waisted. Don't do that aluminum foil thing. If you really want me to explain why it isn't accurate, I will, but it is misleading why that will show you your crotch curve. It does, but it doesn't account for. It's hard to explain. Every time I do, people look blankly at me. It was really great. That was one thing talking with Jen Stern about. I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. Now you know, but yeah, those do crotch curve things. Yes, that is your silhouette, but you can't lay that on pants. Let me say it that way. You cannot lay that on pants and trace that curve and have pants that fit you. I promise you, you cannot do that. And it's because of your everything above the hip line. You can use it for the lower part, but that's it. Raspberry stretch denim for pair. Oh, I love that. Your curve can change between standing and sitting, yeah. That's really just the like sitting ease that you need and spread. That some people get, some people don't. Some people don't change at all, but some people do. So yeah, I've been thinking about another Let's Be Honest. Like the last little thing I did was I reviewed all button fly pants. And I realized those are all non-stretch pants. I should have called them non-stretch pants. I did 3 pairs. I did Dawn jeans, Glissandos, and Morgans, I think. So I could do pull-on jeans. I like doing like a little group, you know? It kind of has some like... So then you have something to compare it with. And it doesn't look like I'm just like... Because I feel like if I were a channel that reviewed new patterns that came out, how would I pick, first of all, right? And... then I would also need a budget for cutting and sewing every new pattern that I wanted to review. So that's what I would love a sponsor for that. That's what I would love a sponsor for our Let's Be Honest series that is just like, here's a budget. You can cut and sew, you know, with this money, you can cut and sew things just for the review, and then you can give us the pants and or the garments, and we'll donate them or whatever. Because then I could do it, and then I wouldn't have to have this huge closet of clothes that I'd maybe, because it would be nice to review clothes that maybe I wouldn't sew for me, like, you know, like cut them and sew them and stuff. Like, yeah, like the Mountain View jeans, exactly. Mountain Views, I have the Mountain Views, the Peaks and Valleys, and the Zen pants are 3 pairs I've done. See you, Elizabeth. Thanks for coming. Thanks for chiming in with your review, too. Yeah. Yeah, what color top stitching do you plan to use with your red jeans? That is actually a really good question, because I do think that could have a good, fun thing. Yeah, exactly, Aisha, right? What do you think an average pattern costs? I don't know. What do you think, Shem? Between like $8 and $16? They vary kind of widely, right? I would say 12. I would say like $12 would be the average, right? It's not hard to get patterns. That would actually be pretty easy. I could probably ask for patterns from places. May I have your pattern? I want to review it. They might be interested. Some people probably, it'd be like 50-50. Most people just ignore. I don't ask for anything, though. I never ask for things. I don't think of the Zen pants as jeans either. It's kind of, I agree with that. Silver on red would look cool. Oh, to sew if you, like the whole budget? I don't know. I mean, it's tough, right? If you were doing a jacket versus the sports short, right, from Friday Pattern Company, that's going to be a pretty big difference. It gets tricky, Shim. I've thought about it a lot. Like, how could I do that? But I just think, like, it's hard to come up with a budget for something like that, or a sponsor, because they got to get something out of it, right? And say you say they're a neutral, because you want someone neutral, right? You want a neutral sponsor. What do they get out of it? Like, you would, if it were a fabric store, and they'd have to be selling all the things you're using, right? So like, say Hearts Fabric was like, hey, we'll sponsor your honest pattern review series. But then they're also going to be like, but what if she says something bad about it and then we don't sell any of this, right? It's tricky. I think that's a good guess, Fiona. Yeah, exactly, Shem. I have it set up on my website. I think it's like, I put 125, but it's negotiable. Because you have to buy the pattern, the notions, the fabric, and then you have to print the pattern, and there's a lot of time in that. Like, it takes me hours. When I shop for fabrics for Wardrobe by Me, it's tough. There's an option on my site for that, Shim. Maybe threads. I don't know. Are their reviews actually honest, Miranda? Have you ever seen a negative review in there? Y'all, I love threads a lot. I have had a big place in my heart for Threads magazine for decades. it would be on my top 5 places of a dream job. Lately, I don't think they're very thinking of me in the best light. I worry that they think I'm like anti this whole top down center out thing because of one of the comments I made on their YouTube channel. But I don't know. I'm lately feeling a little more skeptical about some of the content. You know? Rumana coat. I haven't heard of that. I've seen one person who is a pattern affiliate for several companies. She uses her own fabrics but compares the pattern. Yeah, I know, Kelly. I could totally do that. However, that is exactly the kind of person, I know a lot of people who do that. As exactly the kind of person I feel like every time you see them do a review, it's always positive. And you know why? Because they're an affiliate. They need you to buy the pattern for them to make money. I'm just saying it like it is. I want to be truly neutral. Jan's in America. You're going there in October? Oh, you guys should have a meetup. That would be really cool. It's a by hand London pattern. And Threads roasted it. Really? Okay. Oh. Okay, maybe I'll look at that. Maybe that actually could be a cool thing. But they already have people reviewing things. I don't know why they would ask. They would let me do it. That one uses it. Does it? Oh, really? Oh, cool. Oh, dang. It would have been nice to see a scale when I developed mine. I would have loved to look at theirs because then it would have given me some ideas because I didn't know what to do. I was like, I agonized over that, man. I spent so many hours developing my rubric and all that. I really want, because you know what? Like people, they're still like, it's still not honest enough. I think if you're not saying something negative, people think it's not honest. Ooh, Mafio's talking. We all listen when Mafio speaks. That is, I love it. Yeah, she don't hold back. Thanks, Mafio. I like that. Yeah, I was just looking at, someone just did a whole thing on their upcoming collection, and I felt like going, you have got to be kidding me. None of those people in your pictures are realistic, common, standard body types. They were, you know, women that were extremely tall and thin, very, very, very thin. I know there are women out there, obviously those models are there, but I just thought that it looked so fashion week in New York, and I just thought that's so out of touch with the home sewing community. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember who it was, and I just was like, ugh. So I would really like to do some more pattern reviews. Yeah, right, Fiona, exactly. Tall and thin. It was made for you. And it was all 80s chic. So it was a pretty specific customer. That's the thing, is like some of these pattern companies, their target customer is not who made them. I don't know. I haven't been in the home sewing world long enough to know. We need to just chatting stream instead of doing this at the end of these regular streams. I forgot Molly's here. She's so cute right now. Oh, that's so cool, Shem. That is so gratifying. Oh, you see her? Look at how cute she is right now. She's totally snuggled on the bed I made her. She's out. I made that bed for her, and then she never laid on it because Loki always took it. And then recently, Noodle, the new kitty, has been sleeping on her bed that she prefers. And so then she walks over and she looks, she's like, ugh. And so then I put this bed next to it, and there's 3 beds next to each other. And Noodle, the tiniest thing in our house, sleeps on the biggest bed, and the dogs sleep on the little beds. It's really funny. It feels like E.F. Hutton. I feel like some of you are in that Craft Snark Reddit, but I don't know who's there by your usernames. It's kind of funny. I haven't posted anything or said anything. I'm just watching. That's how I learned about the Honest Pattern Reviews Instagram. I was really hoping no one was going to comment under there like, oh yeah, So was doing those, but they're not that honest. I was so nervous. I was like, oh no, they would totally say something like that. And you know what? That's fine. I could probably be a little bit more cutting, but I just don't feel like it's necessary. And people just don't like it either. I mean, I'm just trying to be honest. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. I just want to be honest about it. I don't want you to have to read between the lines of what I'm saying. That's really what I'm doing. Because I feel like there's a lot of like veiled honesty out there. You have to read between the lines. So, all right, I'm going to head out. You hate Red Dot. The Craft Snark one on the Honest Pattern. That's so funny. Oh my gosh. That's funny. Yeah, I think there's a few people in the Instagram world that I think are mean because it gets them attention. And I think that they're in that some of them are in that Craft Snark thread. Cozy when they mean small. Yeah, veiled honesty. See you, Terry. Hi, Lindsay. We're just signing off. That's nice of you to stop in and say good morning. Yeah, so there's definitely a few accounts where they are getting their followers by being, it's not even honest. I feel like they're just trying to be mean. I don't know. I don't like it. I muted them. I don't know. I don't like that kind of thing. I like it, like I always say, I like it to be a conversation. Well, let's talk about it because there's more than one side to things. There could be a reason why something's like that, right? And just tell me. And then I'll be like, oh, okay. Hi, Kim. How's it going? Welcome. I'm kind of at the end of the stream, and you're catching us in this weird conversation. But you can rewatch it if you want. I'll be sewing part 2 on Saturday, though, 11 a.m. Pacific. Oh, my gosh. That is so funny. I told my mom, or we could get together on Saturday during the day. I don't have anything. Yeah, I have a stream. That's really funny. Okay. Yeah. Oh, hopefully Loki will get to come home soon. They said he'd be ready at 5:30. It's only 1:40. But I'm hoping he'll be ready sooner. Poor guy. So, I'll see you guys Saturday. Thanks for coming. Thanks for participating. Thanks to all the lurkers that are lurking too. You guys are all welcome. So, I'll see you guys soon. Saturday. We'll finish up this coat. It's looking pretty good. Look at this mess. No, it's looking pretty good. I'll give it a little press. Press all that binding, make it look a little better. Right? Yeah, Mary. I think that's a potential too. Yeah, that's what it's called, Nancy. One word. I've thought about that, Mary, too. Yeah. Yeah. It's a subreddit. Is that different, Miranda? Subreddit? I don't really understand it. I don't understand Reddit at all. I'm still like lost on there. I'm just thankful it's like, last time you were here, you looked at this. Do you want to look at it again? I'm like, oh, thank you, because I can't find it any other way. Yeah, that's it, Nancy. It'll be like knitting and sewing related, other crafts and things. And some of it's like, do you really need to snark about that? But, you know. One word, yeah. All right, I'll see you guys on Saturday, right? Saturday. Be here. Where's my thingy? There it is. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it, everyone. And it was nice to see you all and chat with you. So I'll talk to you soon. Bye.